Hi, everybody. Trying to do a little bit of technical adjustment before we begin and putting it. All right, there we go. Now I got it set up. And thanks everybody for being here. How is everybody doing on this beautiful May day? I can't believe it's middle of May already. What a crazy, crazy year. Year is just running. Where's everybody coming from? Can you guys go into the chat box and let me know, where is everybody? Omaha. How's the weather in Omaha, Ishan? Omaha is Nebraska, right? It's not like Warren Buffett's playground area. Chicago, John, how's Chicago? Is it nicer now? Is the spring full on? 83 degrees. That's perfect weather. Yes, there you go. Albany, New York. I've been to Albany many times. It's funny, I've actually never been to Chicago or Omaha, and I've done like 40 states. So there you go. Those are the two that I did not see. All right. Well, I'm so grateful that everybody's here. Vancouver, Canada. Which part of Vancouver? I've been to, nobody comes to Omaha. I don't know. That's not true. I know that it gets crazy, crazy for what is it, the Berkshire meetings and stuff like that. Berkshire, yeah. Vancouver. I've been to Vancouver Island, Vancouver, and then obviously, well, British Columbia, that part as well. Langley. East. Oh, okay. Oh, I've been to Langley, actually. It's near Whitehorse or something, right? It's like a suburb. I remember passing it. Very random. That was many, 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 many years ago. White Rock. Yes, exactly. White Rock. I stayed in White Rock. I mean, I stayed in Vancouver and then I stayed in White Rock. That was like 15 lifetimes ago. All right, with Sydney. It's 42. Is that Celsius? 42. Oh no, you guys have you're in your winter, right? You're coming up on your winter right now. So it's chilly there right now. All right. Well, hi, everybody. Let's jump in. And I'm really grateful that you guys are all here, especially from all over the world. I am Marina, the Trader Chick. And today I want to talk to you guys about busting some moves and debunking some day trading stuff, day trading things, because I always find that when we don't have the full story, we have some misconceptions and stuff like that, or myths that we need to debunk, everything changes for us. Everything becomes easier. So I feel like a lot of times there's quite a lot of misconception, especially around the financial markets. So hopefully we'll be able to debunk some of those today and learn and have fun. Before we move on, I just want to do a really quick intro of who I am. I am Marina, the Trader Chick, and this is me. I live in Barcelona with my family. So right now it is actually 8 p.m. So it's not morning anymore. But yet it feels like it is because the sun is still completely shining. One thing people don't know about Spain, especially in Catalonia, where I live in that part, is that the sun during the summer does not go down until almost 11 p.m. It's really, really beautiful. Yeah, I mean, if any of you guys have a chance to come and visit Barcelona, highly recommend it. Before I started day trading, I used to be a fitness instructor and a travel writer. And this is one of the biggest misconceptions out there, is that people believe that they have to have an economic background or a math background or financial background or even like an engineer background to become successful traders, but that's not true. You just need the passion, right? The interest. And the coolest part of it all is that you can work from anywhere. And yeah, so for me, day trading was really important because it was part of the lifestyle as well. Because my family and I, we travel for 3 to 4 months every year. So I wish that I could be one of those trust fund babies, but I'm not. I actually do earn everything for what our travels. And day trading offers us that option. So it's really magnificent. This year, we are off to France in July, and then all of August, me and my son and my mom are going to head to Japan. I don't know if anybody's been to Japan. So right now I am in the process of learning Japanese. So konnichiwa. Marina des. I just said hello. I am Marina. Yeah, so it's a fun thing for now that we're learning. Okay, so before I jump into the presentation, I have the whole presentation for you guys as a worksheet completely for free because I know that David always puts up replays and you guys could use this worksheet to go through the replay at your own time. Since we only have an hour together, you know, it is a little bit rushed. This way you guys get it all for free. So go here to makingofadaytrader.com, makingofadaytrader.com. Go here right now, get your free worksheet and follow along. All right, guys, let's bust some myths. Let's first learn a couple of little new things that will truly help you understand a few things. First and foremost, what is day trading and why is it not investing? Because a lot of times when people hear that I'm a day trader, they automatically say, "Oh, I want to learn how to invest." And I always joke around saying, "Well, day trading, we day trade to invest, right?" It's a little bit different. And the most important part of that difference really boils down to one thing. And unlike investing, you really don't want to diversify when you're day trading, right? When you are investing, it's really great to have a robust, very diversified portfolio. However, when you're day trading, you really don't. You really want to stick to just one thing. And the way I like to kind of give an analogy is, imagine your child comes to you and says, "Hey, I want to learn how to play a musical instrument." And you ask them, "Okay, what would you like to play?" And they say to you, "Well, I want to play the piano, the drums, the guitar, and the flute and the violin." And you look at them and you're like, "But they're all so different. There's no way that you could learn how to play all of them, right?" It's really important to learn how to play just the one instrument. And interestingly enough, in the financial markets, each particular thing is an instrument. So this is why I really give that analogy, because a lot of times, especially in the beginning, a lot of traders, or wannabe traders, I should say, think that the more markets, the more instruments they are going to start trading all at once, the more money they'll make. Completely untrue. As a matter of fact, the more you focus on one instrument, the more money you could actually make. So this is why I always bring this up, because if you could get even one thing from it all, that is just one instrument. If you could trade just one thing, that would be so, so great for you. Now, the other really important difference between investing and trading is that investors actually care about the companies they invest in, right? So, for instance, if you're going to be investing in Apple, you could sit through the ups and downs knowing that the Apple iPhone 18 is going to be coming out, and you're okay with that because you're okay, you're investing in Apple the company. However, day traders, we don't care about what's happening in the company overall. We only look at it for the actual what's happening during the day. So we don't care if it's going up or down, as long as our technical analysis is clear and we understand what is happening. That's all we really want to do. So that's another very big thing, because we don't really care that in 3 months the iPhone 18 is coming out, because we are in and out of our positions in the same day. Correct? So now let's bust some of the really big myths so that you guys could start to trade for reals, okay? So the very first one that I hear all the time is that day trading is so risky and that it's gambling. Well, if you want to if you want to become a pilot, are you going to jump into a plane right away and go flying? No, chances are you're going to take classes, you're going to do simulation hours, you're going to work with an instructor, right? How come when we have a little bit of money, we just throw it into the market and think that, oh, that's it, you know, I'm going to be a millionaire? It absolutely amazes me. And of course, usually when you have zero idea what's going on, you're going to end up losing that money because there's no strategy behind it, because you didn't apply yourself, you didn't put in the time. And then 99% of the people scream and shout, oh, it's so risky, it's gambling. But it's not. You would not hop in a plane and just take off. So always think of that, right? Like, you need to do the work. You need to understand what is going on. And this way you minimize the risk. You definitely take the gamble off the table. The other thing is that the other misconception is you need $25,000 to get started. Another complete and total untruth. Why? Because the $25,000, I guess, misconception maybe was true like 20 years ago before the internet, when you had to deal directly with the broker. And what actually the $25,000 allowed you to do was also get a margin account. So I'm going to be talking about margin accounts because you need to stay away from margin accounts. I'm going to explain it a little bit better later on. But for now, just remember this. You could start trading with a very small account. You do not need to have $25,000 to start trading. You could even start with a lot less. And I am going to talk about the margin account a lot more in just a little bit. The other one, like I mentioned before, that you need to be a math whiz or have a financial background. Absolutely not. I do not have any math prowess whatsoever. I am not a financial person at all. And honestly, I don't do anything with numbers during the day. Technical analysis, on the other hand, is a whole other ballgame. But technical analysis is not math, it's not finance, it's not engineering. It's anybody could learn it, right? So again, misconception, you do not need to have any of these skills. Another one, my favorite, is it's stressful and chaotic. Well, if your trade, room looks like this, if this is your trade setup, this is unhealthy for anyone. The human mind is incapable of monitoring or handling this much information. Is completely unsustainable. You will not only burn out, but you'll probably like get some crazy neurological tics. This is not right. I have one chart. That's all I use. I used to have three, and they were giving me constant analysis paralysis. So now I only have one, and I'm happy with just the one, and only two indicators, by the way. So again, totally unsustainable. All right. The other thing is buying all these different softwares and indicators and algorithms. There is a thing called the shiny object syndrome. I'm sure you guys have heard of it before. What does that actually mean? It means that you run after the most newest, shiniest object that's coming out on the market. And this is really good for people selling indicators, softwares, and algorithms, because they know that the shiny object syndrome exists and they bank on it. Here's the reality. To be a pro day trader, you do need to have a really strong charting software. I'm not going to deny it. Just like if you're going to be a Formula One racer, you need to have the proper vehicle, right? The same thing goes for trading. Now, all of these charting softwares, they come with fantastic universal indicators, and a lot of them now offer strong algorithmic programs and systems as well. So what am I saying? You don't need any of those, guys. It's just a gimmick. Stick to what you have. Trust me, as long as you know what you're doing, you will be able to be just fine. You don't need to buy all that other stuff. And this is a huge one. There's so many people, especially equity traders or wannabe equity traders, that wake up at like the crack of dawn, sit around, do all this research and news and all this stuff, and then they're in the market all day, and then they again are doing all this crazy research after, basically like 12-hour days, right? Which is completely ludicrous. Why did we even start trading? So that we could only put in like 1 hour a day, right? It is so unsustainable. And here's the reality of it all all of the news and all the stuff that you're seeing is usually done by pundits or people that say they're experts. And because they have a pretty large platform on the news channel or wherever they're, giving their spiel, that they have a strong agenda and they're usually trying to sell you their agenda. Okay. So when you start to do this market research, just remember that you're not really, it's what they're telling you, and it's nonsense. So you have to ignore it. You have to get past it. All right. This is another one, trigger happiness. And yes, this is a thing. This is not something I made up, although there are some things that I have come up with. This is not one of them. So, what is trigger happiness? There's this thing that traders, especially new traders, think think they need to do is be in and out of trades all the time. So when I first began almost 13 years ago, I used to do like 2 3 hour sessions, and I would go in, I would have like 40 in and out, right, trades. I mean, it was completely ridiculous. Even if I was winning, I was completely losing on the commissions, for real. Like I was losing on the commission. So one thing that I did learn was pro traders, they are like big game hunters. They sit and they wait until the big game arrives. What is the big game? It's those highly probable, highly profitable trades that they have developed strategies for. This is really important, guys. Okay. So you have to understand how this works. And you also need to understand that you do not need to be in and out of trades. Right before, so what I normally do with my students before they go live is I tell them to do a kind of a challenge, almost 1 month. It's better to do 1 month. You could do 1 week, but do just one trade per day challenge. And what that allows you to do is filter out all the bad ones that you thought would be good ones, but they are actually bad ones. So try that out and you'll see the amount of trades that you're like, I cannot believe I was going to do this trade. Those kinds of trades, right? Because you really have to filter and focus just on the one. And I always say the most radical way to trade is conservatively, because aggressive behavior does not work, right? So small profits on a daily consistent basis, that's what brings you the big profits. We hear about these huge aggressive moves, but then we don't hear their huge aggressive losses, okay? Because nobody wants to talk about that part. Now, this is a term that I actually created, FOMAT, fear of missing a trade. FOMAT, right? So what is FOMAT? We all heard of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. So a lot of people have this FOMAT belief that they start to chase trades. They think that there's no other trades coming. I actually don't even know what goes to the majority of these people's minds when they see a trade that has already passed, but they're still running after it. It's kind of like if you're a surfer and you arrive to the beach and a wave just passed by you, you're not going to hop in the water and start paddling to catch that wave that just went past, right? No, because there's like there's millions of more trades, I mean, more waves coming. So it's the exact same thing when it comes to trading. All right. Don't chase the trades, because what happens when you start to chase the trade, it becomes an emotional thing. All right. And when it's emotional, guess what happens? That's when you start to lose, because now you're not thinking properly. All right. So stay out of that, guys. It's not worth it. All right. I want to talk to you guys about what to trade, what markets there are to trade. Like I was mentioning earlier, I really recommend finding one market, and even better, finding one instrument. So, what exactly are the markets? Right, Forex. We've all heard of these, right? About foreign exchange, currencies, all the good stuff, right? So, what basically it means is that you are trading or seeing different pairs of currencies. The most popular one, obviously, is the US versus the euro, right? I mean, that's the one that we hear of the most. It's always in the news. But you could also do Australian versus Japanese. I mean, there's a lot of different ones, right? So I personally also recommend only choosing one, maximum two pairs to focus on, because it's not really currency that we're looking at, it's the leaders. And are the leaders, fighting with each other? Are they on good terms with each other? That you could wake up and, one of the leaders might have like an ego fit and not want to talk to the other one. And the currencies get affected like that, other than also, the actual economics of the country. But I'll be honest with you, that is also quite skewed. All right, all through the egos of their leaders. The other one is equities. So you gotta love I love it when I ask people, so what do you trade? And they're like, I trade stocks or equities. I'm like, really? Just on the US market alone, there's over 5,000 stocks. So you're trading them all? No. But if you listen to a pro trader, what do? They actually will tell you, well, I only trade Tesla, or I only trade Amazon, or I only trade Apple, or I only do sectors, pharmaceuticals, technology, entertainment, or big caps, small caps. Why? Because again, they're so different. So if you start to really niche it down, you could focus a lot more. You could really master that particular one. And I really recommend that to you guys, okay? Futures. Again, when I ask people, what are you trading? And they're like, oh, I trade futures, commodities. I'm like, so you're trading crude, wheat, and the E-minis, which is the S&P 500 on the futures market? No, you can't. It's literally like getting into three cars and three different vehicles on three different terrains. You can't maneuver that. Those are so different, the strategies, the movements. So again, you want to pick the one instrument, right? Let's say the S&P 500, which is the E-mini or the crude. Pick the one and stick to it and master it. Options, it's another one. Okay, what options do you want to do? Focus on that. That's where you should be putting all your efforts into. And then crypto. Obviously, crypto is always hot, but it is very erratic. There's a lot of going on there at all times. And again, when I asked, so what do you do crypto? Oh, Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is one out of 6,000 projects and altcoins. So again, find what you want to trade and focus on it, because it affects every other part of what you are doing. And that brings me to brokers. I love it when people contact me and they're like, oh, I just got a brokerage account. I'm like, oh, okay, so what are you trading? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I want to trade. Because here's the thing, guys. If you're going to be doing crypto, you want to be on a crypto exchange. You don't want to be with an equities broker. And if you are trading equities, you don't want to be with a futures broker, right? Why? One is because it's not their specialty. So they are then hiring out to give you this chance, but that means they have to charge you higher commissions. So it's important to know what you want to trade. So then at that point, you'll be able to focus on what you are trading. Okay. And the broker is also specializing in that. Now, I want to talk to you guys about margin accounts. And this is really important. I actually call margin accounts loan sharking. Why? Because brokers make it sound like it's a perk, like it's a benefit. It's not. Basically, what they're saying, oh, you have $10,000, we will give you a margin account of $10,000. So when you spend your 10,000 that you do have on buying whatever positions you want to buy, now you also have 10,000 that you can borrow from them and buy with. Great. But what if you lose? You still have to pay them the 10,000 back, and on top of that, you're paying them interest. All right? Remember that. First and foremost, you do not need, it is not mandatory, it is not obligatory to have a margin account. Okay, really important to remember this. And when you have the right broker, because you are trading and working with the right everything, then you can understand the commissions basis. All right. You don't want to be with a broker that is not specializing in what you want to do, because your commissions will be higher and you will have to pay higher fees for the feeds and the quotes. Okay. So it's really important to know what you are trading before you join a brokerage. All right. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you need a platform. You need to have a charting platform. And once you have your charting platform where you could also trade off of right off of the interface, that's all you'll need. And they have all the universal indicators that you could possibly imagine. Okay, I want to talk about day trading lingo. As with everything in this world, everything has its own lingo, correct? For instance, if you are in the medical industry, there's certain words, jargon that we will not, if you're not part of it, if you're a layman, won't understand. What if you're playing football? There's definitely a lot of words that you might not understand. Have you guys ever been part of, have you ever met any people from the sailing community? I mean, at that point, I literally feel like they are simply speaking a different language altogether, right? So you also, for the financial market and for this world, you need to have the proper lingo. And I just want to go over it really fast because that alone will save you so much money. It's amazing to me, and people don't know the difference between buy and sell and all these other little things that could be easily learned really quickly. So we're going to start with intraday trading. What is this? It's literally you are in and out of your positions in the same day. So why is that so critically important? Because if you are an intraday trader, that means you want to be looking at charts that are 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, no more than 15 minutes, right? Because you're in and out during the same day. So if you're an intraday day trader, you don't want to be looking at a 1 day or a 3 day chart, right? They won't make sense for you. And the same goes if you are a swing trader. Do you really want to be looking at a chart that's 1 minute when you're holding for 3 to 5 days, maybe even more? Correct? Bull market, market is going up. Bear market, market is going down. Trends. This is really important because a lot of people know logistically that there are three trends. There's the upward trend, the downward trend, but honestly, the most important trend of all is the sideways trend. Why is that important? Because this is where the majority of your money ends up getting lost, because this is where the majority of the traders or people who are in the market think that they could outwit the market or predict what the market is doing. And that's never the case, ever. Okay. All right. So let's talk about these words here: profit target and risk management. What are these? So basically, with a profit target, you are putting in the place where you want to be taken out, but with a target, okay, where you are actually making the profit. I mean, with a profit, you're putting in your target right there. So what happens when you don't have that, when you put in a mental profit, that means that greed will always get to you because the market is going in a direction, and all of a sudden you have your target in place, your profit target in place, but you move it because you're like, no, it's going to continue. And then, of course, it doesn't. We've all been there. It changes. And then, boom, it goes and hits your risk management if you did not do a mental stop, correct? Because what happens when you do a mental stop? Normally, it's like putting in a mental seatbelt, right? So guys, it's really important. You need to keep those in there. Otherwise, the ego and greed will always take over. All right, I'm going to go back to the chart. If you guys don't have a chart, you could forget about it. You need to have a good chart. And with those charts, that's when you could get your indicators. And back to the trending markets, we've got the upward market, downward market, and the sideways market. All right, this is important. We're going to just do a really quick review. Buying, going long, taking a long position. What is that? Super simple. You're entering low, exiting high, taking the profit in between. You are going along. You're entering a long position. Selling, shorting the market, going short. What is that? Again, super simple. You're entering high, exiting low, and taking the profit in between. It's really, really important. Okay. This is to understand this, because I get a lot of people that don't know the difference. And then when they're putting in the other way, they don't understand why they're getting stopped out. So this is going short, you're selling short position. Now, I want to talk about a market entry versus a limit order. So limit order is when you are putting in an order telling the market that I want to be entered at this price point. Okay. So if you do not get filled, no biggie, but if you do, you are in control of where you're getting entered. However, if you're doing a market entry, what it shows the market is that you're looking at the market, you don't know what you're doing, and all of a sudden it's going in the one direction. You're like, oh my goodness, I got to get in on it. Boom, you hop in. Market entry. So the market penalizes you for that immediately. It's called slippage. So for instance, if you want to enter a position that's at $1 and you market entry, you actually are entering around $1.25 because it's usually around 25%. So now you're already 25% less of what you originally wanted to do. So if you are a pro trader, you will never be doing market entries. It's a very important distinction. Okay, you need to tell the market where you want to enter. And even more importantly, you want to tell the market where your stop limit is. That is the risk for you. You are telling the market that I am only willing to risk this much on this trade. Okay, super important, guys, really important. You cannot have a mental stop. And again, if you market exit, you will again have slippage of about 25%. All right, technical analysis. I've mentioned this several times, and to me, it is the most simplest and the most profitable possible way that you could do it. All right. You do not need to have math. You do not need to have financial backgrounds, economics, technical analysis, understanding how the market is working. All right, let's begin with the most basic ones, the support and resistance areas. Okay, support resistance areas are part of technical analysis. So what is a resistance area? It's an area where the market is hitting a ceiling. It is where the market is going up and all of a sudden it starts to hit over and over and over again. That is the resistance area. We don't want to be in the market when it's doing that because it could pivot, it could get stuck there for a long time, and you don't want to be stopped out every single time. So you got to give it a rest, especially when you see these areas. What is a support area? It's literally the opposite. It is when the market is having a downward trend and all of a sudden hitting over and over and over again the support, the floor of the market. Okay, so when you see this, I would recommend getting out immediately and definitely not getting in until it has given you specific direction of where the market is going. My favorites are reversal patterns. To me, they are literally the telltale signs, and that is the double tops, triple tops, double bottoms, triple bottoms, and head and shoulders. So it's not really 100% reversal as far as it is a place where it's telling you that there's a very high probability it's going to reverse. And it's also showing you that the market is really slowing down and losing its steam. And the last thing you ever want to do is be in a market that is losing its steam, right? So a reversal pattern is really great to show you to stay out. And if it happens while you're in, get out as soon as you can and salvage what you can. My other favorite is divergence. I literally call this my holy grail of trading. I do not do anything without divergence, watching for divergence. And when there isn't divergence, then I know that this is a really high probability way of trading. And that's when I usually enter the market. So what is divergence? As you can see here, my price action is going up while my MACDs, that's my lower, the red dotted area right there, is going down. Okay. So they are opposite, they're divergent. And when this happens, what it's telling me is that the market is losing all its strength, all its movement. Okay, so it's really, really important to be able to understand this and utilize it. And it's fantastic. It is so simple to spot, and it is just one of those huge aha moments. Okay. So let's put all this together. Like I said before, go to makingofadaytrader.com. You could go here and get the entire presentation for free and a lot more actually in this free worksheet for you. All right, I want to talk about breaking out of areas because the breakout trade is by far the most profitable trade you could be in. However, if you don't have your technical analysis in place, you could miss it entirely. All right. So, what is a breakout trade? Basically, what happens is when the market is moving in one direction and then it becomes flat, when it has the sideways trend, we don't know where it's going to go. But then all of a sudden, it breaks out in the same direction as it was going already. Okay, that is the breakout trade. So we need to identify it, and that means drawing in the resistance area, drawing in the support area, and recognizing when it completely gets out. So this is how I do my trades because I love the breakout trade. It's one of the most profitable trades out there by far. So when you identify it by placing your resistance area, by watching to see if there's divergence and if there's a slowdown, and then when it breaks through, you could also tell the strength through the MACDs and through the price action, and then put in your limit order so that you can get in and boom, you are filled. But all of this requires you to just understand the basics, right? And once you understand the basics, the sky's the limit. It truly, truly is. Now remember, makingofadaytrader.com. So here's the thing, guys. We have absolutely everything that we need to take action, right? We have these amazing summits and there's a bunch of presentations and there's YouTubers, there's different conferences, there's different podcasts, there's different books, right? I mean, everything is at our fingertips. It's actually information overload. So a big question that I actually want to ask you is, how do you know that you're doing it right? How do you know that you are doing it right? What is there showing you that you are doing this correctly, that you know what you are doing? Who is there that you are accountable for to, correct? Sometimes we might be looking at the chart in one way and interpreting it one way and it's completely incorrect, but there's too much information, so we're not really sure what's going on, right? Because all of this is great. But the real question is, okay, I've got all this information, but how do I really get started? Like, where do I get started? And interestingly enough, this is not what I get from beginners. I get this question asked a lot from people that have been trading for a while, that have been truly trying and are simply not moving forward. Like one day they'll win, they'll profit, and then the majority of the times they'll end up losing even more because there's no consistency. And they're always asking me, how do I turn this around? How do I become profitable? How can I be consistent with my winnings, with my earnings, with my profits? And honestly, I will be I'm going to break it down so it's super simple. It's truly lacking the basics. A lot of times, and especially in this industry, people are telling you, well, you could enter here, you could enter there, and all this other stuff, but without understanding why you want to enter there, without understanding the basics of what is in front of you, even if you have AI, right? Because like right now, this whole hype about AI, but at the end of the day, AI is just kind of giving you good ideas of what to do, but you still need to be there to execute. But if you're not understanding the basics, it's going to be hard to execute, right? So understanding the basics is truly the most important thing. And I just want you guys to go back in time because the majority of us, I'm sure, are middle-aged or older, and we all have been driving for quite some time. But if you could go back in time, when you first sat down in the car, you didn't know where everything was, right? You didn't know where the clutch was, where the brake was, where the accelerator was, how to move the gear shift along with the clutch while you're releasing the brake, where the steering wheel is, right? We had to learn all of that. But do you know what that is? That's the basics of driving, right? Like today, imagine if you were thrown into the car and not even told where the brake was and just press, okay, go on the accelerator and then here's the gear. You would be all over the place when you need the most basic thing is understanding the brake, right? Or how to even maneuver the steering wheel. So we forget that we learned the basics at one point because we weren't born with this information. Now, I want you guys to go back even more. Like imagine, not go back, but like be really creative. And imagine somebody gets into the car with you, has never been in a car, and you tell them, all right, put on your seatbelts, buckle up, it's going to save your life. And this person who's never been in a car, they're like, seatbelts, it's going to save my life. I need to buckle up. What are they talking about? If you're not taught this information, you're not going to be able to understand it, correct? So none of us are born with this information. We need to learn it. And once we learn the basics, it's the foundation. And we could then go from anywhere with that, right? It's kind of like you cannot be putting in windows if you don't have a wall, right? The wall is the most basic structure. It holds up your windows, your doors, your roof. Okay. And this was literally my own sad truth. I had spent over $20,000 on my education, everything. And I was never taught the basics. I was always like, all right, go for the massive target there, enter there, all this stuff. But when I was asking basic questions like, how do, how do I understand when there's divergence? I see that you constantly mentioning resistance area. Can you please explain it to me? And never was I explained that, right? And I struggled for years because of it, because I was sitting in these chat rooms and they were going in, entering trades, and I was saying to myself, okay, I'm doing this now. I should understand this, but I don't. And I just kept on losing money to the point where I ended up losing almost $4,000 in 5 minutes. And I literally felt defeated. I was defeated. It was almost 2 years of me trying to trade. I was constantly losing money. And after I ended up losing $4,000, I quit. I quit. I was done. It was just too much for me. And at that point, I just said, no more. And here's the reality. Even though I quit for about 4 months. One thing that I think all of us have in common here is that we are all bit by the trading bug, right? We're all bit by the trading bug and it never stops itching. So what is the trading bug? Why does it never stop itching? It's because deep down inside, we know that we could do this. Deep down inside, we know that we can do this. And that's when I decided to come back. I probably quit for about 4 months. And when I came back, I actually had 3 charts. I had 3 monitors, and I took 2 of my high definition monitors and I just donated them to the garbage man because it was just too much. My mind was in constant overload and analysis paralysis. I also at one point had 10 indicators, no joke, because I was watching this guru, this YouTuber, and they were using this indicator, and this person was using that indicator, and I was using them all. So when I came back, I got rid of my monitors, I went to one chart, and I removed all of my indicators. And what's really funny is that a lot of times we feel like we need to be using these popular indicators, right? For me, when I removed the Kettler band, the Bollinger bands, and the Fibonacci's, I had this massive load lifted off of me. Maybe they work for some, but they never worked for me. And what I started to do after I removed all the indicators is I slowly started to put back the ones that I wanted to test out. And that's how I realized that I only actually needed 2. And those were my basics. So after a while, I really was able to get it. It was really simple. It was fun for me again. And one of my students a few years back says to me, Marina, your teaching method and philosophy is very similar to Coach John Wooden. And I never heard of Coach John Wooden. And of course, I went and I Googled him and I learned all about him. And he was this A-star, A-list coach. I mean, he was absolutely incredible. But his entire philosophy was, and teaching was, when in doubt, get back to the basics. And I mean, this guy took his team to 88 championships, 10 NCAAs. He trained A-list superstars. Yet, every time a new season began, he would start with the basics. How to roll up your sock, how to tie your shoe, how to dribble your ball. Why? Because it doesn't matter what you know and what you've done, your ego is going to get to you and you're going to forget. And then you're going to be on the court running without remembering the basics of how to tie your shoe. Boom, you have a sprained ankle and you're out for the season. So it's really important to get back to the basics. And so today I want to talk to you guys all about my very special offer for you guys only. This is only for the people sitting here today because I know how important it is to have taken the time out. And I really appreciate you guys being here. And I really am grateful. So today I want to offer you guys my introductory course, my boot camp for day trading. You could take this course on any apparatus, your desktop, laptop, tablets, phones, you name it. And all of this is offered to you for one-time price of $97. Now, I want you guys to just take a few minutes. We have only a few minutes left and just give me all of your attention. I promise it will be worth your while. First and foremost, let's go to bootcampfordaytrading.com. Go to bootcampfordaytrading.com and then you can follow along. Now, what can you get for $97 that brings you the same return on investment? Do you play golf? Because let me tell you, today, there is absolutely nothing at all less than $97 per person for golf. And how about going out to lunch? I'm not even talking about dinner, but lunch with your friends or just the family members, right? Today, two people, a good meal and a glass of wine, that's pretty much will cover the $97, right? I mean, it's outrageous how expensive everything is. So let me break down everything that you guys are going to be getting in your boot camp for day trading. First and foremost, simplifying day trading package. Now, I know that, like I was mentioning earlier, that the platform is a must have. And I know for a lot of people, it feels really uncertain. So there is a 30-minute tutorial that you could go through so that you are all set up with your charting platform and don't have to worry. Excuse me. Okay, so this way you can get right into the fun stuff of learning how to trade. Then we really dive in and start to dissect the markets, understanding the trending markets. Like I mentioned earlier, sideways markets they're the worst that you could do, right? Because that's where you end up losing the majority of the money. Yet, when you recognize and know how to work with it, you're able to avoid all the pitfalls. And also understanding reversal patterns, divergences. Basically, we will be learning the technical analysis, applying it, and truly understanding how to use all of it. It's amazing. Once you understand them, the aha moments that you will have are mind blowing. Right, like reversal patterns. Once you understand and see it, you're going to be able to stay out of a lot of weak markets and when the market is actually reversing, so that you know when it's happening and could enter when it already reverses in the new trend. Then we're really going to talk about the divergences. Divergences, like I said, is one of my absolute favorites. Support areas, how to recognize resistance areas. Divergence to me is the holy grail. And once you start to recognize it, you'll be like, I cannot believe I never spotted this before. And once you do, I guarantee it will take your trading to the next level. We go through absolutely all of that in this course. And then mastering the breakout trade, understanding that breakout trade. And the coolest part of it all is avoiding the fake out breakouts, because they happen a lot. But once you start to avoid them and know how to avoid them, guess what? You're going to be getting into the good ones, the ones that are the highest probability trades out there. And you have unlimited access to this curriculum. Everything is valued at $1,600. So you guys will be getting everything that I just said for $97. So before we go any further, here's some testimonials from my students. And I have students from all over the world. Michelle, best money I ever spent. I just finished doing the boot camp. Derek, you're the only mentor that truly, truly works with you and understands. Adrian, I am enjoying your boot camp so much and I'm learning every day. All right, this is so important. I want to share this with you guys. Let's just go back for just a minute. Remember when I asked you, how Do you know you're doing it right? Who are you chatting with? Who are you accountable to? Okay, so what I am going to offer, what I am offering in this one-time price, one-time deal, 1 month of one-on-one mentorship and coaching with me. It is included in this price. So you will have unlimited access to me. We could chat on Zoom. You could send your charts. You could anything you want, ask me so that you really understand what you are doing. And there is no question, am I doing it right? That is included with me, and this is valued at $500 alone. Okay, because a mentor could be the one that takes you to that next level. And on top of that, I also run a live chat room where we sit in the live market, implementing everything that we are learning and executing and taking live trades. And you will have a 30-day membership as well for that. All this is valued at $2,600. You guys get it for $97. Okay, I want you guys to take a screenshot of this right now. Bootcampfordaytrading.com. If you guys are having a little bit of hard time getting in, that's because Google just did some weird things. So it's HTTP. You have to remove the S if that's what's popping up, and it'll take you to the order form. Bootcampfordaytrading.com. So you could press on print screen and just take an image of this right now. All right. So what are we getting for $97? Everything in the course, 30 days one-on-one mentorship with me, and 30 days in the live chat room. And the reality is, all of this is less than one trade. I know how much trades are, guys. I trade all the time. The normal average trade is usually between $200 and $400. This is $97 when you could 10x your return on your investment. Okay, and then have 100 of these meals. Seriously, 10x. But here's the thing, and this is really important. Because of my mentorship program, I'm only able to take on 25 spots, 25 students. And normally I get sold out pretty quickly because for $97, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? So here is the order form. I want to show you how. Okay, let me just see here. I think I'm sharing. Am I sharing the screen with you here? Are you able to see me put in bootcamp for day trading? Yeah, so bootcamp for day trading right here. This is the actual order form. Let me just see something here. Okay, so go here right now. You can see the order form right here. And you can see here, one-time price, $97, two-time payment of $59, but you get everything automatically included. Okay, so go here, bootcampfordaytrading.com, and this is where you guys are going to end up right here. So the order form is right here. And I want you guys to just take a screenshot here, go to bootcampfordaytrading.com. And I am really, really excited to work with you guys and to be able to help you any way you want. And I'm always here for you guys. And thanks, David, for having me. And thank you so much, everybody, for taking this time to be here tonight. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.